Welcome back, guys, to Apollo Justice, as the Mason system has locked us in the present now with a past fully garnered of all its secrets. Now we're just breaking everyone related to the case, as the Gramarye Cyclops have been broken, shattered, with a confession from Shady Smith to say that he was the one who killed Magnifi. Now we know this is not true, so Valant, we pressure you. Though you don't seem to like the fact that the confession's been written, do you? Let's find out more. You do know that this confession is nothing but lies? Yes, it's my opinion that Zach Gramarye killed no one. And you must be thinking the truth is a simple matter of elimination. Two received instructions to kill, but if one is innocent, then the one who remains is guilty. That would be the logical conclusion, yes. So he vanished to protect me, his partner. Ha 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 ha! A sterling tale, 'tis true. Did you shoot Magnifi Gramarye in the forehead? If I had, and I told you, what would you do? Run to the police, perchance? Do as you will. There is nothing left for me now. It is true, after all. I have little talent. I needed my mentor, Magnifi's repertoire. It was as if a little demon grabbed hold of me. I knew it. So Valant Gramarye did kill the great Magnifi. Ha! So sorry, Mr. Wright. But it was not I who shot my mentor. What? But if it wasn't you, then who was it? There wasn't another disciple, was there? Another disciple, such as... I don't know. Knack and talent Gramarye, maybe? Your wild fancies couldn't be further from the truth. Only Zach and Valant received those threatening letters. But there was another. One more person could have fired that pistol that night. I don't suppose you've figured it out by now. No, not at all. Well, if you take two people summoned to a room plus the third in the room, and if neither one of them shot, then who had a gun at hand that they could have finished the job with? More to the point, who probably really, yeah, there it is, expected to die that night, given the fact that he'd already given up. There was no hope of recovery, that there was probably suffering involved. I mean, makes sense in some ways. Magnifi shot himself. I don't know how the gun got back on the table, though, thinking about it. Everything's in place so supremely. It wasn't Zach or Valant who shot Magnifi. Then it had to be the only other person at the scene, which means... Wait, you don't mean... Yes, the great Magnifi Gramarye himself. So Magnifi Gramarye committed suicide? You find it hard to believe. To be honest, I hadn't even imagined it as a possibility. It makes you wonder why no one did. I mean, I guess his fingerprints would be on the gun regardless, because he'd have provided the guns. But then surely, like, the thumbprint would have been a different way round on the trigger, and the way you'd have to hold it to fire the gun at yourself into the forehead. It's a bit harder on the wrist, like, when you bend it towards you, but if you did it like a claw move when you're pressing it with your thumb, it'd be a bit easier. But how did the gun land so pristinely back where it was? Maybe we'll find out that too. To be honest, I hadn't even imagined it as a possibility. When I arrived that night, the old man was still alive. He appeared to be asleep. I could not shoot him. But when I turned and made to leave the room, the old man called out to me. So you spoke with Magnifi Gramarye? Yes, and this is why I knew what he had done. Magnifi transferred the rights to his repertoire to my partner, Zach Gramarye, not me. I see. Then I guess I owe an apology. I always thought you were the one who did it. You owe me no apology. Huh? My crime was, in a way, more serious than that of murder. What? Your crime? Is Valant Gramarye confessing something to me? What could be more serious than murder? You see, I knew the two letters had been sent. There are no secrets between partners. It was easy to find out. That was when I understood Magnifi's plan. He wanted to die by one of your hands. Little did I expect it had nothing to do with the rights to his repertoire. That was when I heard it. The little demon whispering inside my heart. The demon? Let me confess, I had intended to shoot Magnifi. And I planned on framing my partner for the crime. What? That night, I prepared something before going to Magnifi's hospital room. Which was? IV fluid, of course. I seen it on an earlier visit. If Zach did not shoot, I would do the deed. Then, I would use the IV liquid to place the murder on his hands. That was my plan. But you didn't shoot him. I could not. The demon in my heart fled when the moment came. But then Magnifi called me back. I'm sorry, Valant. I'm giving my magic to Zach, not you. You still lack the draw he has. Please, help him, if you can. I left the room. And then I stopped. The shock of what I had just been told consumed me. That is when I heard that fateful gunshot. Magnifi Gramarye, killing himself. Then the demon awoke anew within me. Zach killed him. He was the one. Frame him, and the magic will be yours. I altered the scene of his suicide. I took the pistol from his hand, wiped off the prints. Then I used a syringe to add the IV liquid I'd brought. So in the end, things happened pretty much as planned. Magnifi died, and you framed Zach for his murder. As planned, indeed. Of course, the outcome was somewhat different than I had anticipated. Well, what do you think? Do you believe my story? Can it be believed truly? That was 7 years ago. I don't know what to believe, but... Yes, I'm glad I heard it from you, Mr. Valant. Thank you. It is I who should be thanking you, Mr. Wright. Only when I had lost everything could I make my decision. You gonna turn yourself in? My partner may have vanished, but not so my guilt. And as my guilt stays, all else begins to leave me. My friends, my performance rights, my magic. I've had enough of vanishing acts. I understand. I thought my life was ruled by a dead man. But I find I was wrong. For Zach Gramarye was alive. Well, not anymore. And now it occurs to me, what if he was not the only one who survived? What do you mean? You see, now that I think about it, I realize that No. We never saw proof of her demise. We never saw her body. Her? The mind races and the mouth flaps on. My apologies, forget this matter. I can only hope that a day will come when I again meet my partner, Zach Gramarye. Then, I shall apologize for my terrible mistake. I am glad we had this chance to talk. Thank you. Zach Gramarye, Shady Smith, whichever name you prefer. He's no longer with us. The truth revealed in that trial was only a sliver, and the impenetrable darkness that remained has taken another life. I knew what I'd have to do to push back the darkness for good, and it would involve paying that man a visit. It's nice how it kind of leads you from place to place. It means that as long as you pick the right place to begin with, which literally was just a hope to see Maya, it will lead you place by place, and it all falls into a kind of nice, easy, logical line. Solitary Cell 13. Our last destination. A confrontation? Let's find out. Sorry, sir. Prisoner Kristoph Gavin is currently occupied. I see. Do you know when he'll be finished? Well... Could you go find out? Certainly, sir. Please wait here a moment. My apologies to the guard, but there's something I need to see. We're really just gonna sneak a peeky? I mean, we have to, don't we? No Kristoph at all. There it is. The yellow envelope. And the sender is... Drew Misham, I was right. When I arrived at the studio, Mr. Misham was at his desk. He seemed to be writing a letter, but he quickly sealed the envelope. It was a yellow envelope. I heard it was left at the crime scene. If this is the last letter that Drew Misham wrote, then there's something I need to do. The last thing I need to do, in fact. here goes. Let's see if this atroquinine spray finds anything. I'm gonna spray it, am I? It's going to David Chrysler. Nice pseudonym. Well, actually, no, wait. There's only one place I want to spray if it's atroquinine spray. I was gonna spray the whole envelope. It would just be the stamp. So this was Drew Misham's messenger of death. It was his stamp, alright, no mistaking it. And his last letter was sent to Kristoph Gavin. The interview request came like you said it would, and they're looking into the case. I swear on my life I won't tell them about you. So please release the spell you've put on my daughter. I'll write later with a report. Drew Misham. Gotcha. Finally, decisive evidence. What's this? A burglar in jail? Gavin. I didn't know you moonlighted in larceny, right? Gavin, there's something I have to ask you. Can I steal your stuff? The answer is no. My apologies, but there's not much I care to discuss. Vera Misham hasn't received her verdict yet. You follow me, Gavin? There are no known survivors of atroquinine poisoning, but it never hurts to hope. Okay, I'll be leaving now then. Right, wait. Yeah, Gavin? Would you mind leaving that letter? It's private. Oh, sorry. Forgot I had it. Many thanks. Blah! We're being sucked into him. Oh, you're kidding me. You sneaky, snarky son of a gun. We've now seen all the clues in this case. Clues I gathered over 7 long years. Now, it is time. Every story has an ending. We've come to the final chapter, the final trial. Find the truth. You're the only ones who can. Well, you know we can't let it end here. Not this early in an episode. To be continued sends us straight forward. Never trust someone with a weird thing on their hat, obviously. Welcome to court. 7 years, all leading to one verdict. A verdict which you must decide. Is the defendant Vera Misham innocent or guilty? The courtroom doors are opening. The trial awaits. Are you ready to begin? Preparations are complete. Something inside me. Rising, surfacing. Something important. Lost long ago. It's close now. So close. Court is now in session for the trial of Vera Misham. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Prosecution's ready to rock. Prosecutor Gavin, how is the defendant Vera Misham's condition? Acute atroquinine poisoning, according to a physician. She could die at any time. Thus, her absence from the courtroom today. What? They can't put her on trial without it being here. It is unusual. I should wait for her to get better and do it then. It's so bureaucratic of them. That's being a little harsh. They can't delay the trial any longer, or they risk having no one left to try. A trial without a verdict can only cause grief. The records of this case and experience tell us this. Apologies to the defendant, but the show must go on. Right, if Vera dies, the trial will be cancelled. I'm not going to let that happen. Mr. Wright told me everything that's been going on behind the curtain all these years. I'm going to get Vera her innocent verdict while there's still time. Very well. Your opening statement, Prosecutor Gavin. The prosecution's case is unchanged by recent events. Why did Vera Misham succumb to poison? Because she couldn't live with the guilt of what she'd done. But Vera was poisoned with atroquinine, the exact same poison that took her father's life. What better confession could you ask for? Being the killer, she would have had access to the poison. Significant, since it's rather hard to come by. That is true. In other words, I see no need for further discussion. We could have had our verdict yesterday. Well, Mr. Justice, if you have no objections, I see no reason to postpone a verdict. What we need to worry about isn't the verdict, but the trial itself. The defense holds that Vera Misham is the victim, not the killer. If that's so, then you have to prove something. She was in court, giving a testimony before us. How would you propose her killer poisoned her? Oh, and incidentally, it would be nice if you told us who her mystery killer was. The prosecution's objection is sustained. I ask the defense to prove its claims to this court. Tell us how Vera Misham was poisoned. I've got two things to prove here. Who did it and how. Which to hit first? Surely, logically, the how makes more sense. How did the killer poison Vera Misham? I will focus first on the method used. Any comments before we begin, Prosecutor Gavin? Not a bottle or container of the poison was found on the defendant's body. I see. So the vector of poisoning is unknown. Is the defense prepared to prove how the poison reached Vera Misham? Yes, Your Honor. Very well. What method was used to poison Vera Misham? The nail polish, of course. What's this? My, what a beautiful bottle! I'd like to give whoever designed that a hand. Yeah, whatever, Judge. Is that nail polish? It's colorless. Something the matter? No, nothing. Nothing at all. You recognize the design, don't you? So the killer put poison in this bottle and made her drink it? As Prosecutor Gavin has told us, this is nail polish. Nail polish? It's like paint for nails. Know any woman with red nails? Ah, my wife has red nails. I see. So she's been painting them all this time. Ah, I thought she was born that way. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's actually that's not a product for nails. Probably. Let's recall yesterday's trial. Remember when Vera was testifying to the court? Court is now back in session. Vera seems pretty tense. She's practically chewing her fingernails clean off. Whenever Vera became nervous, she had a habit of biting her nails. Her nails? Ah! Prosecutor Gavin, when the prosecution had Vera examined, did they check her nails? Bailiff, have them check the defendant's nails at once, Mr. Justice. Yes? Do you know who did this? Do you know who put poison in that nail polish? Yes. That bottle belongs to Vera Misham. Why'd you ask? Know someone else who might have a bottle like this? No. Just checking. Mr. Justice, you are about to accuse someone of poisoning that bottle of nail polish. Please dispense with the chatter. You realize the weight of this accusation. Here, let me show you. Oh, big penalties. I knew who he is. Understood, Your Honor. No problem. I know what I'm doing this time. Then let us ask, who poisoned Vera Misham via her nail polish? Well, at this point, Clavier, who's always been quite justice and truth-ridden, is, I think, not necessarily protecting Kristoph. He knows. He knows where this bottle's come from. He knows where this is going. But it's kind of that thing, would you, like, straight away just accuse your own flesh and blood? Considering. It's a bit of a... I mean, most people would probably have a second thought. Do you know what I mean? There'd be a conflict. I'm sure he'll get to it in the end, but right now, I don't think he's protecting Kristoph more than he's just full of internal conflict. But here we go. What's this? Kristoph Gavin? What's your game? My bro, there's no way you could do a thing like that. It's internal conflict. You should know that better than anyone else. Indeed. He is behind bars. I know. However, that doesn't mean it was impossible to do what he did. What? Ask yourselves when he put the poison in the bottle. It could have been yesterday. It could have been a month ago. Maybe it was a year ago. Or perhaps it was 7 years ago.
What? Kristoph Gavin had no motive for killing this poor girl. It's simply inconceivable.
Prosecutor Gavin doesn't seem to think so. That face tells me one thing. Kristoph Gavin's own younger brother doesn't find it inconceivable at all.
Well, Prosecutor Gavin, if you feel there's a clear and pressing need, then we may have to summon Kristoph Gavin from jail as a special witness.
Fine. I've known for some time that an impenetrable darkness lurked at the bottom of this. A darkness that has swallowed even myself. Okay. The defense's wish is granted. Let prisoner Kristoph Gavin take the stand.
Bailiff, begin proceedings to call a special witness. The witness is Kristoph Gavin, currently residing in solitary cell 13 at Central Prison.
Ah, Your Honor. How nice to see you again.
It's been quite a while, hasn't it?
To what do I owe the pleasure of your company? It's not every day I'm summoned from my solitary cell. In fact, it's never. I think you already know, Mr. Kristoph Gavin. Ah, Mr. Justice. I hear you've been doing quite well for yourself. Ah, why do I feel like somehow he's still my boss? Stiff upper lip, Apollo. You can do it. Does this bottle look familiar? Aliadoni nail polish. Why, yes, I use it myself. As did the late defendant, I hear. She's not dead yet. And, was there something concerning this bottle you wish to ask me about? I admit I respect her for her taste in nail polish. Her taste indeed. His nail polish was how Vera Mission was poisoned. Atroquinine, was it?
You're well informed about the case, Mr. Gavin.
Even in solitary, much comes to my desk, and I have nothing to do but read. Well, Clavier, maybe you can explain this. You're being accused again. By him. Again. Ah, and you agree with this accusation, do you?
Let's hold a proper trial, shall we? Kristoph Gavin, your testimony, please.
I'd be delighted.
The charges against you are quite severe, Mr. Gavin. You are suspected of the poisoning of the defendant, Vera Mission. Please testify on this matter to the court.
I have this feeling that at this point, Kristoph's got over? Or Clavier's got over, even. Clavier's got over the internal conflict at this point. And now, instead, what's actually coming out is he's got a little bit of, you know, workmanship trust with the person sitting in the opposite bench. Accused by him again. The first time was true. What about the second Clavier? Owning the same nail polish does not a murderer make. I have been in solitary confinement for half a year. How could I poison her? Her father died the same poison, the meaning of which should be clear. The prosecution's case holds. She poisoned her father, and then attempted to poison herself. Surely you aren't going to suggest I was responsible for poisoning her father too? Yes. I'm just like, yes?
Well, I'm afraid the defense's claim is sounding rather unlikely.
Naturally. For one, I don't even know the missions. Isn't that so, Mr. Justice?
Very well, Mr. Justice. Begin your cross-examination.
I'm accusing Kristoph Gavin, my ex-boss. But I know he poisoned the missions. The question is, when could he have done it? Not to mention, why? But we know everything. We know everything clearer than probably any case before. And the golden light shines straight away. It's really nice having it up on big screens on my PC rather than the DS. Though to be honest, with the DS, it is central screen, so you'd notice it even better. That screen is so nice and big, I can't help but notice it straight away. What we've got here is a statement we need to find a tell on. Not pressing necessarily, or not? Right, if I scroll forward here. It's going to be on that statement there. The only obvious abject movement he makes. Let's press anyway. Tell me, is this nail polish expensive? Olizandri is a nail polish of the highest order. Not only is it fabulously expensive, but it is made in extremely limited quantities. And you and Vera just happen to both use it? That can't be a coincidence. I'm guessing it's not a coincidence. Huh? What? It's simple. Olizandri is the best nail polish one can buy, correct? Then if one wanted the best nail polish, one would buy it. That makes sense. Why, it's a bit like my feelings toward my brand name gavel here. And my silk top hat. Are we all done showing off our refined tastes? Please, continue with your tasteful testimony. Lovely. I've been in solitary confinement for half a year. How could I poison her? We know it was 7 years ago. We know this statement's duff. Can you still make contact with the outside world in solitary? So we had an accomplice on the outside. Is this your latest accusation? I am allowed a certain modicum of letter writing. But the contents of those letters are closely checked. It would be extremely difficult to send a hit request. Prosecutor Gavin's on the warpath, isn't he? Yeah. You think so too, Trucy? I bet I know why. He must be nervous with Big Brother watching. Maybe that's a weakness I can turn to my advantage. Are we cool with that? May I continue? He's hip with the kids. He says words like cool. Right. To be honest, I'm going to skip these statements now, because I know what I'm looking for. We're looking for a tell, we're not looking for testimony, and they're pretty much duff stuff. If Father died the same poisoning, the meaning of which should be clear. No, it's not, but we just argue that fact, and that's just useless to the case. That's what the case is about. The prosecution case holds. She poisoned her father, then attempted to poison herself. That's a bit stupid, because she could have done it at the same time she killed her father. Why would she? Makes no sense. Why would she do it later? Why would she go to trial? Why would she have this done about her? No sense. Surely you aren't going to suggest I was responsible for poisoning her father too? It's here. So let's, because we can always back out, let's check what's whoa! Those eyes through the everything there. When did he get a scar on his hand anyway? It's either his eyes or this. Whoa! I've missed the button. The hell? It's look at those eyes though, piercing. You can tell like he does. This is the statement anyway, just from his eyes. Man, they've built them so well. But it's the scar on his hand that's meant to draw your eye line. It just... Wow! The devil. Is that where Vera got it from? It's the mouth. The hell? That's the muscle structure, that is. Gotcha! It was you who killed Drew Mission. A bluff worthy of your new mentor, Mr. Wright. Oh, really? But you see, I saw it. Right when you said her father, too. Your hand tensed unnaturally, and a little devil appeared to give me the news. And let's assume for the sake of argument that you saw me being tense. And what does that mean? Are all tense witnesses guilty? And tell me, was Drew Mission fond of nail polish too? Sorry, but there's more than one way to poison a man. You don't need nail polish to get to someone's mouth. Then I must be very talented indeed. You see, Drew Mission was killed on October 6th, while I was already in my solitary confinement cell at Central Prison. If that's not an alibi, then I don't know what is. But you found a way, all the same. And I found it too. This is how you poison Mr. Mission. Do I use the commemorative stamp? Or do I use the red envelope? Or do I use the letter from Mr. Mission? Ooh, that's a good point. I think I used the commemorative stamp, to be honest. That's the bit that links everything. Surely the red envelope could be used as well. I'm sure this commemorative stamp requires no introduction. This is the safe bet of the lot, though. The night Mr. Mission died, he was seen writing a letter. Astral quinine was found on this stamp, Mr. Gavin. So am I to understand this stamp was the murder weapon? Yes, you are. Oh, and yes, this stamp was found in your prison cell. Nothing? Nothing? I just breathed in, nothing? Waiting for so much time to say something, but no. That is all, Your Honor.
Order! 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 Put poison on the back of that stamp?
After Drew Mission was killed, someone paid a visit to this witness's cell. Phoenix Wright. Daddy? Well, that's when he found the stamp. You made Drew Mission write you a letter. That's how you killed him. What? My. You've upset my poor brother to the point of uselessness. Allow me to clarify this matter, Justice. All you need do is recall witness Spark Brushall's testimony. Well, that's the thing, see? After he put his letter in that envelope, Mr. Mission sat there searching his desk drawer for something. His desk drawer? Yes, a stamp. A so-called postage stamp. End quote. He was looking for a stamp. Ergo, he had no intention of using this stamp. What are you getting at? What I'm arriving at is that this commemorative stamp was in a frame. It was mere coincidence that he used it that night.
That would seem to be the case.
Or perhaps you mean to suggest that I can somehow manipulate coincidence? No, because he was following instructions.
He does have a point. How would this witness know if the victim was going to use that stamp? About that, he couldn't have planned the murder.
What? Really, Clamier? You should be seeing through these weak-spined bluffs by now. It's not that. It's not about that, really. He just knows that Apollo's right. He believes Apollo, and he doesn't believe you. At all. He's lost faith in you. He can't speak up because he can't defend you. He's right, though. How could anyone have known Mr. Mission would use that stamp that night? Least of all, Kristoph Gavin locked away in his cell.
Well, it seems that the defense has run out of things to say.
You assume he had something to say in the first place. I believe the defense's bluff has been called. Defense's bluff? I'm not sure I agree with you there, Kristoph. Clavier? Honestly, I wanted to believe you. The defense wasn't trying to get away with a bluff. You were, Kristoph.
What are you saying, Prosecutor Gavin?
Forehead. What was your accusation again? Huh? Oh, it was that this poison stamp killed Drew Mission, yeah? To which my brother responded lustily. There was no way to know when Mission would use the stamp.
Yes, that's right, which is why it couldn't have been planned.
Tell me, it needs to be planned. Why? Why couldn't it have been a coincidence? The defense's case is simply that Drew Misham died by the stamp. That's all. Coincidence. Kristoph, you tried to slip out from under his accusation by changing the subject. If that's not bluffing, what is it? What are you up to, Clavier? I could ask you the same question, Kristoph. I silence the defense with the fewest words possible. It's called efficiency.
But Mr. Gavin, that's impermissible testimony.
Very well. I shall take his claim head on then. Justice. What? You accuse me of Drew Misham's murder, yes? Then, allow me to ask you. What possible reason could I have to kill a painter? Apollo, motive. He's talking about a motive.
Indeed. It's hard to see how an attorney could come to want to kill a painter.
Now here's something. Why didn't he bring up the motive from the very beginning? Unless he was afraid it was a battle he might lose. So, what does it mean? It means there might be a weak spot. Maybe I have some evidence to prove a motive.
A motive for murder. This is a vital, if not the most vital element in this case. Please consider this when making your statement.
I'd say it's about this vital. That's pretty vital.
Well, Mr. Justice.
I'm going through this no matter what. Understood, Your Honor. I'd like to present evidence.
Then, let's see what you have for us. What reason did Kristoph Gavin have for wanting to murder Drew Misham?
Right. Is it this? Now? Or is it simply the forgery itself? What can I examine exactly here? There's an address on here, and a name I've never heard of. At least, I think so. It's too blurry to read. Well, it's definitely not the name of that. Alright, so we are stuck in... Well, we're not stuck. We know. It's just... I don't want to get the penalty. It's either the notebook page, or maybe it's the red envelope. To be honest, it could simply just be both. But it's the forgery is why. It's to silence. To stop it coming out. Kristoph Gavin's motive becomes clear, and I should be more confident. When we consider why the stamp came to Drew Misham's studio in the first place. I could have done the red envelope, couldn't I?
And why was that?
Forgery, Your Honor. Go back 7 years. Drew Misham accepts his first job creating forged evidence.
I've seen that before. A page from a diary, wasn't it? Magnifi Gramarye's diary.
Ah, when attorney Phoenix Wright lost his badge, yes. This was the evidence he presented to his loss. This evidence is a fake, yes. But did Mr. Wright request the forgery be made? That was never proven. The defense attorney on that case was Phoenix Wright. Who, other than him, drunk with the prospect of victory, could have done it? And why would they? Just out of curiosity. Do you remember this letter? This is the first page. And this is the second.
Those were presented in court yesterday. This letter was sent to Drew Misham by the client who requested that forgery.
The enclosed stamp was none other than the poisoned commemorative stamp. Drew Misham drew his last breath just the other day. However, the motive for his murder was already 7 years old. 7 years old? The client who requested this forgery was very cautious. He tried to erase anything and anyone with connections to the forgery.
To keep them from talking?
But he made a mistake. The stamp was a picture of my favorite magicians, so I kept it. Father took me when I was very young. It was a great magic show. I loved it so much. The killer's time bomb was delayed. The poison stamp was sealed within a glass frame, where it sat for 7 whole years.